Welcome back to my channel. Today, I wanted to debunk some misconceptions about mockups and when it comes to creating your new Shopify store. The truth is, mockups are great for rallying everybody behind a design concept, but they seldom are accurate portrayal of the finished product. You might be wondering why that is. Why can't the finished product look exactly like the mockup? Well, fair enough. You and your design team have put a lot of work into fine-tuning the spacing and the functions. Unfortunately, the web and all of its quirks have a lot more moving and ever-changing parts. Let's use an example. If you hire an architect and a contractor to build you a new house, these two agents work together, but they have very different jobs. The architect, the designer, has a technical background but is less focused on the individual nuts and bolts that go into the house's construction. When it's time for your contractor, the developer, to come in, they may have to substitute certain parts and materials to compensate for availability, budget, and unexpected construction hiccups. When it comes to your website, a few fundamental hiccups can lead to a gap between your mockup and the finished launch site. As Shopify experts, we've seen our fair share of these, and we wanted to share them with you today. It's all part of how we become the best partners we can be for your business. All right, let's talk about the design and the application. Most of the time, the mockups are designed and then handed off to the developer. This system has its faults. There are some great tools that increase the comprehension between the digital design and the end product. But the reality is that digital designs have fixed boundaries. They have an edge of the page. But the web doesn't have an edge. The web is more like a lake than a page, which I'm sure you can imagine is not so comparable. Everything on the site is constantly changing to accommodate different dimensions, screen sizes, and browser settings. When a designer creates a mockup without the developer's input, there's no opportunity to flag unrealistic design features ahead of time. This creates space for disappointment, which we want to avoid. Okay, now let's talk about screen size. We've all seen slightly different versions of the website, depending on where you're accessing it from. Where's that button on the desktop site? Why can't I find it on mobile? A mobile site is vertical, while a desktop site is horizontal. And tablets, they fall somewhere in between. A user can adjust their browser screen to whatever size suits them best, and all the moving website parts have to adjust accordingly. This is why we design sites to be responsive. In some case, you might have two completely different websites for mobile and for desktop. When images and text get resized to accommodate different screen sizes, they can alter the site's spacing. Throw in an image with text overlay and you have another level of responsiveness. Initial mockups typically don't consider how much a single site can change within a given session, which leads to a discrepancy between the site and the design itself. All right, let's talk about browsers. Well, most of us only use one or two browsers. There's a ton of them out there, and each of them has their own little bugs and own plugins. While building your site, we should try to take all of this into consideration, and navigating them can take some fancy footwork. Our priority is to give the user the best experience of your site that's possible. So if we have to alter the spacing slightly to account for a checkout button, that's a sacrifice we're going to make. What does this all mean? We really care about your project, and we value every bit of work that goes into it. We are committed to building you a well-engineered system that lets your business grow, scale, and stand the test of time. Sometimes this means things turning out a little differently than you originally dreamed of, but it doesn't mean it's worse. Often it means it's better. The mockup is a great place to start, but the journey for launching your site is not a straight line. Every site is unique, and we are committed to working together to make all the parts sing. As your web developer, we take on the complex balancing act of site building to deliver you the best Shopify store we can. This might mean a little bit of flexibility from everybody involved. I'm going to leave you with another example. You're building a shelf. You measure out the piece of wood perfectly. You drill the holes where your screws are going to go, and then you decide to paint the shelf. And you happen to paint the joints in between that you've already measured. Now that the paint has dried, the joints no longer fit perfectly. It's a minor adjustment, but the paint makes it too tight, and you have to adjust. Adjustments happen, and we will get through them together. All right, that's everything for me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. I'm taking a few weeks off to recharge and relax a little bit before we come back in 2021. So don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and we will see you in the new year.